Why do you think the federal government treats veterans like garbage? Did the garbage at the VA start when Obama became president?
No, this has been going on for years in the VA. I can remember guys coming back from Vietnam that were not getting proper treatment in the VA. And there are a lot of good people that work in the VA. In fact, we lost one of my sons about 2 years ago. He was a combat medic, and but he was not in the military at that point. He had worked at the VA as a nurse, and he died of a rare muscular disease. But he told me that things were getting better, and this was under the Bush administration, that he saw signs of improvement at the VA hospitals where he worked, that things were improving, but they still weren't perfect. But now, under Obama, it's deteriorated to the point where it's horrible. Obama's primary concern with the VA is to turn it green. Millions of dollars are being spent on solar panels, on windmills at national cemeteries. Well, you have windmills at national cemeteries. They just had a big ceremony in Houston at the National Cemetery about this windmill. I've been told that they spent $240 million at the Phoenix facility on solar panels. This was a facility where 40 people we know of died because they couldn't get appointments, 40 veterans. The woman, by the way, who ran it at that time has been put on administrative leave, like Lois Lerner. Nobody ever gets fired by Obama. Administrative leave means she gets all her paid and benefits and gets to sit on her rear end and do nothing. But under Obama is when all of this started about confiscating the guns, the acceleration of the incompetency thing started happening, and the veterans, they started hiding medical records so they wouldn't have to treat the veterans, so they could spend their money elsewhere. That $240 million at Phoenix could have hired 2,100 more doctors around the country. So this is getting worse.
How and who brings indictments to enforce federal laws to uphold the Constitution? Who enforces it? If a lawbreaker is arrested, where is he or she taken?
Federal law is enforced by, unfortunately, the criminals in the Justice Department. It's Eric Holder's responsibility to bring indictments, or U.S. attorneys who work for him. And we all know how well that's going. If arrested, you are taken to a federal detention center and held there until you get out on bail or have a trial. As far as going after somebody for treason, that I think could be brought by a state official. If something happens that affects your state particularly. And one of the groups I'm working with is the Constitutional Sheriffs and Peace Officers Association. And I helped them prepare a declaration back in January at a meeting in Las Vegas, where they basically, and there's an article on my blog about this called A Line in the Sand, where basically they said, we must uphold the Constitution we have sworn to protect and defend. Sheriff Richard Mack runs the organization. In the early Clinton administration, the government came to him and said, you have to enforce the Brady Bill. It was brand new. You have to run the background checks. He says, no, I won't. He and 7 other sheriffs sued and said, that violates our oath of office. It went to the U.S. Supreme Court, and the U.S. Supreme Court agreed with them. That is the basis for this declaration, where the sheriffs and peace officers around the country and police chiefs are saying, don't cross the line. Not only are we not going to enforce any new gun control laws, we're not going to let you come into our counties and enforce them. We will arrest the federal agents. So, I think there's ways out there that we can get after it. And of course, if Obama was successfully impeached and is out of office, he no longer has immunity. He can be charged with anything by virtually anybody at that point.
Oh, you are so tempting. Do you know how many minds are going right now? Are there any statistics on percentage of Black, Hispanic, white, for those on the list, or Republicans versus Democrats, and what is the name of the book?
Name of which book?
Your book.
Oh, my book, the little one's Our Constitution. And then there's the Mortarman and the Amelie, A Story of America, and there's a couple of books back there of campfire stories. But no, well, we don't know. You know, the FBI says that there is no list of people who purchase firearms legally. Well, we know that's bull. They're supposed to destroy those. And they're saying they don't know, you know, or can't give us information about why people are on that list and what, you know, percentages are. But we're going to ask, because we're also going to ask the same thing of the United States Army. Because we have thousands of majors and captains being eliminated from the Army. We want to know the demographics of that. Are they all Christians? I bet you most of them are. Are any of them Muslims? What are their races? That's what we're going to be asking with more Freedom of Information Act requests. And I'm working on those right now, and we're also going to try to get the information about the people on the next list, the breakdown there. But as far as we're concerned, you know, we don't really care about the race of a veteran or anything else. If it's a veteran and they're on that list, they deserve our respect just for being a veteran. But we want to defend them. By the way, one other point I need to make, this is important. We are representing veterans all over the country. When we file this lawsuit, I would like to do it here in Texas because I'd like to be the lead attorney. And it'll be a lot cheaper because I'm already getting paid a little bit as executive director. I'm not going to be paid anything more, whereas other states will have to hire an attorney, outside attorney. But I need a plaintiff here in Texas. So if you know of a veteran who's had their Second Amendment rights denied, gotten one of these letters, had a hearing, or requested a hearing, or just been told you can't have a hearing or you lose your benefits, we are representing all of these veterans for free. We're not going to charge a penny to them or their families. That's why we're trying to raise the money for this. So if you know somebody, please have them contact me. You'll have cards back there, have my email addresses and phone numbers and everything. Yes, ma'am.
If a veteran has already contacted the VA, what happens if he or she simply does not continue to use VA services? Are all Purple Heart recipients subject to being put on the NICBA BS list? And how can we access your blog?
Okay, well, as I said, my blog, my card back there has the access to my website, and also once you access my website, you can also find the link to my radio show. And as far as the being on that list and all Purple Heart recipients, yes, under the criteria they're using, I'm afraid so. I'm very concerned about that. And if you stop using the VA, you'd have to give up your benefits. But even then, once you're on the next list, you can't get off. The FBI won't take you off. So it's a catch-22 for veterans. Basically, whatever they try to do is a no-win situation.
We have a rule here that I ask all the questions. If I don't and put it down, somebody might think I'm picking and choosing, so bear with me.
Yep.
What is the title of the novel?
Amelie, A Story of America.
Spell that.
Ameyeeli.
Can a vet use Medicare and not veteran benefits?
That's a question I really don't know the answer to. I think they can. I think they can choose, well, they could before Obamacare, they could choose. Under Obamacare, the provisions in it for VA benefits and Medicare and that sort of thing, I don't know. But I know a lot of veterans just are using Medicare to a certain extent because they use it in the VA. So they do try to go, and now supposedly the new laws are being passed by Congress that allow veterans to be treated outside the VA. That would be under Medicare. So everything's changing, so I can't really give you a specific answer to that question. I think you can, but I'm not positive.
Obama should be in court and jail. Why not?
Why not is primarily because we have bunch of wimps in Congress. We have a totally corrupt administration, and we have Eric Holder up there, who's supposedly the head of the Department of Injustice, and he's more interested in investigating police departments for racism than he is in doing anything else. And so, you know, Obama, to begin with, Obama as president has a lot of immunity from a lot of things. That's why Bill Clinton wasn't charged with perjury while he was president, even though he committed perjury. He was immune from it. He could have been charged afterwards, but nobody did it. So we have to wait, we have to get the impeachment through, we have to get rid of Obama or wait till he gets out of office, and then we hopefully have an administration and a attorney general who will go after him and go after Nancy Pelosi and go after Harry Reid and after Eric Holder and just clean house.
I keep reading about people in the military being forced to retire if they do not support the administration. What do you think about the ability of the military commander today?
That is absolutely happening. People are being forced to retire, or they're being cut from the military, bogus charges are being brought up if they refuse to retire. All of this is happening. My oldest son, he's a major. He's got 18 months left before he has his 20 years in. He's trying to decide whether or not to stay in. He's in the National Guard, so they haven't gone after them yet. And, you know, being with the National Guard used to mean you only were called into combat in real major war times. Well, we lived in major war. Like I said, he's done 94 months in combat zone since 9/11. But he's trying to decide because he obviously wants to uphold his oath of office. And Obama doesn't want officers that'll do that. Obama wants officers that if he tells them to, will open fire on you and I. Or kick down our doors to take our weapons.
There are 11 commercial airlines, hundreds of shouldered fire missiles, and thousands of foreign college students missing. Do you think we will be attacked on 9/11?
Yeah. If not on 9/11, shortly thereafter, or even before. The ISIS is here. We know they've crossed the border. We know that Al-Qaeda has been crossing the border for years. We have a wide open border. We have criminals coming in with gang tattoos. We don't know who they're working for. The policy that I've been told about is that our people on the border are told it doesn't matter, and some of them are bragging about the murders they committed back in their home countries. And then they're given this notice to appear, which you can pull up off the internet, by the way, and fill out yourself. Notice to appear in court, and that gives them a free ride on a plane anywhere in the country. We don't know how many of these people are terrorists or working for terrorists. We got all this federal land down there that nobody's allowed to go into except the drug smugglers. We don't know what's being brought through there, what kind of weapons. We got missing radioactive material in Mexico. Medical radioactive material, industrial. Now that's not going to make a nuclear bomb, but that can make a dirty bomb. And if they set off a dirty bomb like that in downtown El Paso, which El Paso and San Antonio and Houston are our most vulnerable cities, although Dallas is also on the list of being very vulnerable. They set off a dirty bomb in downtown, and you're going to have parts of the city that you can't use ever again. Not to mention a lot of people dead. So yeah, I think it's coming, and I think it could be soft targets. They could just start shooting up a mall like they did in Kenya. The whole idea is to terrorize people, and they're coming. They're here. Next question.
This one's for me, and I'm sorry, the guy's name eludes me. Our Fort Hood shooter that was in the military. Are you aware that he has applied to be a member of ISIS?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I'm sure, you know, because of his constitutional rights, which Eric Holder so judiciously protected, that they'll let him join ISIS. They'll say you can join the Constitution. You know, under the Constitution, join ISIS. Yeah, Major Hassan, as long as we have people like Obama in office, he's never going to be executed.
You think?
So, you know, it's going to get worse, I'm afraid.
I like this one.
Let's give Mr. Connelly a hand. Thank you, Mr. Connelly. That was, you know, my stomach wasn't near as queasy when I came in here as it is right now. This is scary stuff. Thank you, sir. Appreciate your time. That was extremely informative. Let me bring attention to this meeting coming up next Friday. No, I'm sorry, the 26th, September 26th. This is a very important meeting to be at, and I want to tell you that you can register online, but you can also pay at the door, either by check or cash. So if you can't be here, if you know somebody who isn't here to register or knows about registering, you can pay at the door. But it's better if you register online, so we'll have an idea of how many people will be here. Plus, it allows to serve more people that are coming in paying by cash or by check. So please take care of that online. But this is a very important meeting. You will appreciate what Mr. Lynch, Dennis Michael Lynch, has to say. Okay, shall we raise the roof? Oh,